Well, a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you might be in the world. Um, if you're new to the channel, you may not know, I'm Anah Parreli. Obviously, the Rena's Labyrinth is my channel, and I'd like to welcome you. Um, say g'day, say hello to me, let me know where you are. At the moment, it's actually Sunday morning before I load this video, and today I'm going to try and keep it really brief. If you're familiar with me and the way I deliver, I will quite often go on a tangent and go down that rabbit warren, as they say, just distract myself, even though I've got a transcript. But either way, to accommodate that, I do put timing chapters in the description so you can jump to the pieces of interest. Today, it's going to be, as I said, I'm sure I said it, that it's going to be a quick video. That's my promise to you today. I will just simply touch on a couple of basics and share with you a couple of pearls that I've recalled over the last couple of days, and then it will just be a channel update. And thank you, I forgot to say thank you for joining me. Before I do get into the content though, firstly I want to acknowledge the fact that yes, it was Easter, we've had a holiday season. I hope that you had a pleasurable one, that everybody is all rejuvenated after it. Here in Australia, of course, we have what's called Anzac Day. Anzac Day is on the 25th of April every year. So occasionally, like with this week when we've had the Easter weekend, it makes for a very short work week because of course Easter is gazetted. Good Friday is what we call a gazetted holiday. Nobody works on that day, and the same with Anzac Day. So what that means is, because we have a 4-day weekend over Christmas, we have the Good Friday over Easter, we have Good Friday off, we have Easter Saturday, which of course just carries on as normal. Easter Sunday, people tend to have the day off. Most people have the day off, but it's not everything's shut down on Easter Sunday. A lot of businesses do shut down though. And then Easter Monday is a public holiday as well, which people can work on, but most people get to have all of those days off. So then they return to work on the Tuesday. Well, this week, of course, we've had Anzac Day on the Friday, which means that people have had a lot of time off. And in Australia as well, like my next door neighbours, they actually take off over the Easter break and they spend it with their families. Anzac Day, for those people that are interested, it's a pretty big national day because it is, for different people it means different things, but it basically is acknowledging the veterans of any wars, and it actually started with World War One in regard to Gallipoli. If you do your Googling on that, the nation lost a lot of men, boys from towns. I say boys, young men they were, and we lost a lot of them at Gallipoli. So that was when the first Anzac Days started, was commemorating that. But anyway, look, most people are back is where I'm going with this. Most people are back from their breaks and they've had some quality time with their kids, which is great. And I hope for you that you also have had a pleasant and safe holiday season. So basically, there's 2 slides I'm going to share with you that were prompted by a conversation yesterday. I'd actually been trying to think about what might be a good theme to just make an acknowledgement of during today's yarning. And as it happens, you may have heard me mention Kerry and Karina before, because they actually helped me out with the last event that I had, a community event. We're going to speak about the next one shortly. But either way, during the course of conversations, with much humour, Karina turned around and made a crack at me, and she was like, I can't believe that you are no good at technology. Well, there are aspects of it, okay? This comment came about because I actually asked Kerry, because she's really good at technology. And when I talk about technology, I'm talking about hardware, okay? It just does my head in. Things like if the microphone and the audio doesn't work and all the rest of it. And so I had asked Kerry to give us a hand with the printer, and she asked me a couple of basic questions that clearly I couldn't answer. A few, absolutely logical things, like me not knowing how to make things work, not being able to tell what battery was needed for some items that I've bought. And of course, Kerry, quick as a flash, turns around and says, it's written on the packet, and it's like, oh. So anyway, end result is that Karina has lost it laughing, and she was going, I just cannot believe that you can do Canva, you can do a YouTube channel, you can do all of this stuff, but you can't work a printer. And it was like, well, we've all got our gifts and talents, And I mean, the thing is too, that some of us learn different things or that we might learn one thing with ease, but then when it comes to learning another thing, we struggle with that. And I said to her, look, the problem for me, actually, I'll tell you what the problem is. It's trying to connect my printer via Wi-Fi to my computer. That's what's doing my head in. And I said, it's kind of like, why beat your head against the wall and give yourself a headache when there's somebody else there that just knows how to do it? And some people, not me, they're just so gifted at this new technology. To me, it's just like, well, how about you show me how to do it? I think that's the thing. I need to have somebody show me how to do it first. But anyway, that's just the point that, we all have gifts and talents in different ways. And just because we're good at one thing doesn't mean that we're good at everything. And clearly I'm not where technology is concerned. So the topic that I've come to, and this was based on the conversations that we were having, was actually about discretion and discernment, which often is interpreted as being judgmental. And the point being that I shocked her, right? I shocked Karina. And that is because she was relaying a story to me, and she didn't realise as she was doing it that she was actually justifying and making excuses for a person's bad behaviour, really antisocial behaviour, because I'll give you the run of it. I don't know if Karina will watch this, but she's not so identified. But either way, she's got a next door neighbour that apparently her coping mechanism is actually to drink heavily. And when she drinks heavily, she becomes very obnoxious with it, and she starts firing off SMSs to anybody around about the slightest things that obviously she must be ruminating on when she's under the influence. And anyway, I said to Karina that I would struggle to be able to be patient and tolerant with that person. And she was like, oh, yes, I know, but she's had a really hard life. And when you speak to her, she's had a dreadful childhood and she's had all of these things happen. And I just went, oh, as you do, because you start thinking about that and think, well, how do I approach that? Everybody's got a story, including myself, as it happens. But anyway, sorry, I had to clear my throat then. What she said next, though, was the determining factor for me, shall we say, because she said, I don't think she realises that she's got a problem with alcohol, but her husband has left her, obviously. She's isolated from her children. She's living all alone now, and I've tried to encourage her to seek a therapist and all that kind of stuff, but she's not interested. So I turned around and said, because this is me, and remember, I've got a Bachelor of Social Work and a counselling degree, and I just said, oh, I couldn't be bothered with people like that. And she's looked at me as though, I'll be honest, looked at me with shock, and I said, well, look, it's not that I don't have any time for her. It's not that I think she's a bad person. I said, it's just that life is short and we all have limits on our time. And I'll help anybody that's prepared to try and help themselves. But if they're sitting around expecting other people to fix all their problems for them, that's just not realistic. And I just don't have enough hours in the day for that. So we're talking then about discernment and discretionary use of time, okay, where I've made the decision that my time can be better used towards positive outcomes. Let me just check my notes here to make sure I get this across properly. So the point being that if we, and I did explain this to Karina, this is where I sit, that when we excuse and justify other people's bad behaviour, then we're enabling them to continue with that behaviour despite the fact that they're completely and utterly miserable, and obviously blaming everybody else for their misery. That's a problem in itself. But it took me down this other pathway of thinking, which is why I've got the image of the piggyback here. And I ended up going to this. I said, look, it's just unrealistic. I said, because the bottom line is that we get to these goals and destinations through work. Nothing comes to us on a silver platter. We've actually got to work towards it. And whether that's our spiritual evolution, whether that's our personal happiness or whatever, this is about a conscious decision and taking actions. And I thought, the best way to describe this, and I can't remember exactly now how I worded it, but it was along the lines of, there's no real joy or pleasure in an achievement when you haven't done the work yourself. So let's say I was planning to run a race, for example, and I decided that actually I wanted that gold medal at the end of the race, but I wasn't prepared to go the distance. I didn't want to walk. I was too lazy. It was too inconvenient to me or whatever. And I said to my mate, how about you do the work? You can give me a piggyback, and when we get to the finish line, I'll claim the medal, okay? And I'll wave and I'll shout and I'll put my hand up there and say, I won, I won, I won. But actually you didn't win. You got there on the hard work of other people who actually might be lying on the ground face down in the dirt because they're so depleted and exhausted by getting you to that journey anyway. So it's a hollow victory, shall we say. Now, the other thing is I do recognise, and this is where I'm at risk of going down a tangent, so I'll have to pull myself up. I do recognise that this is a major problem in society right now when we talk about mainstream employment. In the workplace, we've got plenty of people making claims on the victories of other people's successes. They don't acknowledge the contributors to their success. And you can claim the victory, but be generous. You know what I mean? Like if you manage to get through a degree or something like that, because obviously I've got one, and nobody helped me, by the way. I had to do my study myself. But when I looking at that, so let's say somebody gets a degree, they do some great task as a teamwork. I've heard of this where there might be a research project happen. You've got a research leader, and the leader is the one that gets all the credits and the back slaps and all the rest of it. But they forget to acknowledge that that particular success was because of all the efforts of the team members. So I just want to make that point there. So it's kind of this whole business that I'm talking about is about discretionary use of time because it's irreplaceable. It's being discerning about where you place it, working out, is it actually going to have a good outcome or not? And that's as far as using your time effectively. Does it take you away from your responsibilities? I had this many years ago where I actually put my children on the back seat because I was more concerned about the health and well-being of somebody that I really didn't know that well, actually, but I just knew that they were unwell. And I just made a decision after that I had to be mindful of my priorities. Family first, look after my children first. They are my legal and moral responsibility. Look after myself, my own health and well-being. And then if I've got time left over, then I can actually support those people that are struggling to lift and rise themselves above their problems. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave that with you to think about, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments as well. I'm interested to hear what you perceive is a good way to be. So if you're in the Perth, Western Australia area, just an update, a reminder, yes, the local community gathering that I hold is on the second Wednesday of every month, so we're coming up to the next one, and I'm trying to organise myself in advance. If you know me very well by now, you'll know that I tend to run in circles every now and again as well. But either way, I've decided to cut back on the amount of crystals that I'm taking because, frankly, the boxes are heavy, it causes me back strain and all the rest of it. So if people want to see the stuff, they're probably going to have to come over and visit me. I will take along some samples, and I've got some really nice, affordable, small geodes, amethyst geodes that will fit into the palm of your hand. Well, it depends on the size of your palm, actually. If you've got a small hand, it won't. It'll be a bit big. So anyway, I'll take along a sample of those. I've got my small selenite towers. I've gone for small to try and keep the prices down and to keep it affordable. But I've also got citrine towers, and I've got some amethyst towers, very pretty ones. And I've got some beautiful clear quartz points. One of them's a phantom. The other phantom has been sold. They're just stunning. Excuse me while I cough. I also have got some beautiful labradorite spheres that have arrived. I'm not sure if I'm going to take them because they're about 500 grams. I think one's 500 grams and the other one's 600. And I've got this wonderful shape, just an angular type slab, if you like, of labradorite. It's got some stunning colour on it. Anyway, I don't know that I will take that along because it's actually quite pricey now. And the bottom line is, because you do your currency conversions and all the rest of it, it is absolutely gorgeous, but it's not cheap. And in fact, it's so nice, I'm thinking I might want to hold on to it for myself. So it really depends. Maybe I will take it along. But the other thing is I might actually have some samples of mookaite in the rough. when we have the next event, but I'll keep you in the loop about that. The reason I will keep you in the loop about it is because I actually haven't made a decision. I know that at some point, hopefully before the next community event, I've actually been invited to one of the mine owners. There's only 3 of them that mine Mookaite in Australia because it's only sourced from the one area. And I've actually been invited up to check out his stuff that he's got on, I don't know if it's his premises or whatever, but it has to be a mutually convenient time for the pair of us. And because he obviously goes out back and does the prospecting, I'm not sure what his availability is. So I'll try and get up there before the next event and see if I can bring some crystals back for us to look at least, if not, if I can't get any to sell. Anyway, as far as my crystal collection goes, obviously you can hear that I've been adding it to it. I've been purchasing. But the focus for me so far has been building connections with suppliers and getting to know what to expect for the price that I'm buying, as far as quality goes, getting these verifiable quality sellers, wholesalers. So I don't think that I'm actually going to really launch Lorena's Labyrinth as a shop online until probably after June. And this is because I have to do the business angle behind it all, which is get my ducks in a row. That means I've got to set up my admin. It means I need to revisit my website. I've got to make sure that my bookkeeping practices are sound, all that kind of stuff. I've got to do it properly. And as far as, because it all takes me longer now to actually do this technological stuff, I can't actually put a time frame on that. I'm just going to keep working towards it. And just a reminder to you guys, when you're like, so you're going to build a crystal shop down. Just a reminder, if you're new to the channel or if you're a returning visitor, you will have heard me say that I wasn't interested in selling crystals. This is way back when I first launched the channel, that I was in the best position to actually talk about crystals and alert people to scams and stuff like that, because I didn't have a vested interest in the outcome because I wasn't selling it. Well, I guess in some ways that's kind of changed now, because I do have the intention of selling them. And doing these videos is what has created this for me, this desire to sell them. It's because actually I'm expanding my collection, and a lot of the stuff that I'm buying, I'm actually buying more than I need, and I'm looking for those really good rates. And I've got to say that honestly, the more you buy, the cheaper it actually becomes. So if I want to buy one item or one tower or whatever, that's going to be more expensive. You get a discounted rate the more or the bigger the quantity that you buy. So this is part of the reason for me buying what I'm doing. It kind of saves me. It's an outlay to save money at the end of the day. Before I go on to the videos that I've loaded over the last week, I do have some other stock that's come in that I'm very excited about, and it's what I call the Chinese Sorcerer's Stone, or Chinese Nummite. That is not its real name. I'll let you know when I load it what it is, because it's actually far more available. Anyway, it's a really nice crystal. But my tumbles, I've got some palm stones coming in of the same stone, and they haven't arrived yet. But all of my selenite has arrived. I've got rods, I've got long ones, I've got small ones, I've got beautiful palm stones, I've got peach palm stones. Oh, and I have got the most amazing bowls, really top of the range quality that have arrived. This is the learning for me, right? Is I'm looking at this and thinking, I actually will not make much of a profit on these bowls, because I don't think I've paid too much for them, but I think by the time you pay for the freight and all the rest of it, it pushes the price up, and to be competitive, that's where it gets a bit difficult. So yeah, it's all learning for me, but I will try and be competitive with the prices and keep them as low as I can. So when it comes to the channel content that's been loaded this week, you will have seen the video on black tourmaline. That's been loaded and published. I've got to say, I don't actually have any black tourmaline, and I'm wanting to get some because I think it's an amazing product. I've had it in the past, but I think that grounding is essential, and black tourmaline has got grounding and protective qualities. And I used to wear tourmaline bracelets, and I like it raw, okay, or in the rough for these kind of activities. A lot of the stuff is polished out there at the moment, and I would rather buy the rough stuff. You will have also seen this week that Hemimorphite was loaded and published as well. It's just a stunning crystal. I just love it. But anyway, that one's up. You can go and have a look and let me know what you think about it. Oh, just a reminder while I think about it, if you do watch any of the content and you like it, can you just do that thumbs up for me, please? Because that will actually help me out with the algorithms. Of course, if you do decide to subscribe, that would be awesome and amazing. And also, please do, if you comment underneath the videos, it actually helps to push my content out and get it seen by people, which is good. So the more comments that we get, the better. And bottom line is, it's not just about that. I think when we have conversations about the content that we're up there and share that information, that becomes information that goes out to everybody. And that is incredible. Especially when it comes to crystals like this one, the Libyan desert glass, or it's also known as golden tektite. Now, I've created this video based on a request by somebody underneath the Tibetan tektite video. I'm not familiar with it personally. I don't have any. I absolutely love it, and I would love to have it as part of my collection. But the information that I've put on there is information that I've gathered from doing my research for the video. So when we talk about feedback and comments from the viewers or the listeners, because obviously they're just looking at slides and hearing my voice, that's going to be even far more valid and important for these type of videos. And I just honestly, I cannot express enough, after doing my research on this particular crystal, I don't know that I'm drawn to it from any spiritual capacity, but I really would like some. I forgot to mention that the golden tektite is scheduled. It's already been loaded and it's ready to be published next week. I'm currently, after I finish this video, I'm going to go back to the Mookaite and record that one, because the fact of the matter is that I have obviously connected with Glenn, who mines the stuff, and I have decided, as a mark of respect really, that I will get him to review it and make sure he's comfortable with it before I actually publish it. So I've got to record it, but the plan is that that one will be loaded next week, I think probably about Thursday. Bottom line is, I am so excited about what I have observed and learned with Mookaite. I've got some of the tumbles here that I really am looking forward to catching up with him and seeing what he's got. And even more, I would actually love to go to the source where he actually gets it from. But to be real, that would involve probably about an 8-hour return trip for me. And when you start looking at trips like that here in Australia, because a lot of that would be driving over a dirt road, it ends up being an overnighter, so basically where you camp. And frankly, I was thinking about that and I thought, you know what? I'm too fat, I'm too old to do camping these days. I'm over the tent days, and I'm even more over the idea of heading off to the nearest shrub or behind a rock with a toilet roll and a shovel. Okay, it just doesn't do it for me anymore. So I probably won't be able to go and visit the source where he actually gets his product from, or his material, but I certainly can go where he has it in the town. So I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, this video will be loaded, I think, probably about Thursday. So if you're new to the channel, you may not be aware that there's a number of playlists that I've got up here as part of my sharing information with you to empower you. Obviously, there's the Crystal Magic one. The Universal Law or Spiritual Law one was completed a long time ago. That has been loaded mainly as a conversational point for people to take a look at, and to promote contemplation and reflection and see what actually resonates with them. And in fact, that's the same with all of my content. The colour playlist, that could actually even be a bit like what I'm doing with the crystals. It could go on forever, but I've actually restricted it. I think I've got 46 videos on that channel, and the numerology playlist is basically the equivalent to a numerology workshop. The only thing is, if I was going to be doing a numerology workshop, I would actually teach people how to establish the karmic life path. You know, if you believe in karma and rebirth, we all come in with stuff we have to, I guess, oh gosh, I can't think of the word. I'm having a mind blank at the moment. Past life karma. Okay, we'll just call it past life karma. And you can get an idea about that when you know how to do numerology. And so basically, that's something that I would teach in a face to face workshop or just in a conversation with people. I do because I'm the social worker and I've done an undergrad of Masters of Counselling. I do have some evidence based stuff on the health and well-being. And I differentiate with what's evidence based and what is metaphysical, just to be really clear about it for people that are listening. And of course, I've got the Angels website playlist because I love angels, and I encourage all people, whether you believe in them or not, to actually give the strategy a bit of a go and see what happens. So, my friends, we have come to the end of the video. I bet you're all breathing a sigh of relief. It's a little bit longer than I thought it would be because it did go and do a bit of a waffle, such as life. But either way, it's under 45 minutes. I consider that to be a bonus. For now, though, I'm just going to say thank you very much for being part of my journey. I am going to wish you well for the next week. Have a blessed day today. Take care. Love you, leave you. Catch you on the next one. Bye bye for now.